there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaded Path. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to take the ring from our previous video and make it into a pair of really pretty post earrings. So, the materials you're going to need today is you're going to need 48 twin beads, 24 3mm bicone or round beads, 2 6mm Montees, 2 3.9mm Montees, 2 grams of a size 11 seed bead, and you're also going to need some flat post earrings. Mostly I'm going to be using, see if you can see this here, it's a little hard to see, but it's a post earring, but it's got a flat tip to it, and that's exactly what you'll want. You'll kind of see when I get to the point, I'll kind of explain to you. On some earrings, it may take an 8mm post, and on some a 6, and I have both here so that you can see the size difference. This is a 6 and this is an 8mm post. But it'll just depend on your seed beads, and I'll explain that as we get there. You're going to need 2 yards of 6-pound fire line and the beading needle of your choice. So go ahead and get your materials and we'll get started. I have thread my needle onto about a yard of fire line, and I'm going to thread on 8 twin beads. Now, if you'll remember from last week, a twin bead has 2 holes, 1, 2. So I'm going to thread on 8 beads. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. And the thing you'll want to be careful with is in your twin beads, you want to make sure that with those beads, you're getting the most uniform beads out of the pile that you can possibly get. So I have my 8. I'm going to pull those down. And I'm going to take the beads and I'm going to tie them into a circle. They also make what's called a super duo bead that has the 2 holes. We got 25 colors in this week at the shop, and they're I like to use them a lot, especially better than the twins sometimes, because the holes on those are the size and shape are more uniform than a twin bead is. So here is your circle of 8, and I'm going to take a needle and go straight through 2 of those beads that are next to my knot. It doesn't matter if you go this way or this way, but I'm just going to start out going this way through those 2 beads. So that this is what you should have so far. Now, using my 6mm Montee, I'm going to be using an amethyst color today. I'm going to skip the next 2 twin beads here. And I'm going to come to the next 2 and I'm going to go through those so that the bead would lay diagonally across my beadwork. So skip these 2 and then I'm going to come through these 2 going in this direction so that essentially my tails would be coming out the same direction. Skip and then come through the next 2. I'm going to pull that so that now my Montee lays right over the center of the circle. I'm going to go through the other hole of my Montee here. And then back through the 2 twins that I was just exiting out of at the beginning. Or actually, I'm just going to go through 1, not 2. And you'll just kind of have to wiggle it through to get it through just the 1 there. So that once you do, here's what you should have. Now, you're ready to start the next step. So what you're going to do is we're going to go and step up to the next hole in the twin beads. Okay, why did it get fuzzy all of a sudden? There we go. Alright. So it's coming out of the bottom hole of this twin. So I'm going to come to the top hole and I'm going to come right through it going this direction, so that way I'll have a thread but you won't be able to see it. It'll be right here next to the bead. Just like that. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and trim off this excess piece of thread that you have here. It's completely up to you. I like to go ahead and get it out of my way so I don't have to worry about it. To start out, you're going to pick up one twin and go through the top hole of the very next bead. Pick up two twin beads. Go through the top hole of the next bead. Pick up one twin. Go through the top hole of the next bead. Pick up two twins. Go through the top hole of the next bead. Pick up one. Go through the top hole. Pick up two, go through the top hole, pick up one, go through the top hole, and now pick up two, and you're going to go through the top hole of the last bead here, and then the bottom hole of the first twin that you added. So you're just going straight through. So that this is what you should have. I'm coming out of the bottom hole of the first bead that I started with on this row. So now I'm going to come right to the top hole of that same bead. Again, you will have a little thread, but you won't see it. Alright, I'm going to be using a 3mm purple light bicone. Pick up one 3mm and go through the top hole of the next twin. Pick up one size 11 seed bead. Go through the top hole of the next twin. One 3mm. Go through the top hole. One 3mm. Go through the top hole. One seed bead. Go through the top hole. One 3mm. Go through the top hole. One 3mm. Go through the top hole. One size 11 seed bead. Go through the top hole. One 3mm. Go through the top hole. One 3mm. Go through the top hole. One size 11 seed bead. Go through the top hole. And finally, one 3mm and go through the top hole. So that this is what you'll have. I'm going to continue on through the 3mm, the twin, the 11, the twin, and the 3mm. So I'm just coming along through these outside beads to come through that next 3mm. I'm going to pick up 3 11s. And come through the very next 3mm. So we'll skip the twin and go through the 3mm. And that makes our point. I'm going to continue on through the twin, the 11, the twin, and the 3mm. Pick up 3 size 11 seed beads. Skip the twin bead and go through the next 3mm. That gives us our next point. Continue on through the twin, the 11, the twin, and the 3mm. Pick up 3 11s, skip the twin, and go through the next 3mm. And continue on to exit out of our next 3mm here. And pick up 3 size 11 seed beads, skip the twin, and go through the next 3mm. So now you have your triangle shape, just like the ring last week. But what we're going to do differently is, here's the finished earring, is we're ready to actually make the top of the earring that'll be connected actually to the post earring. This is my brown iris and gold sample, and then my blue, my 2 different color blue sample, so you can see actually how the finished top will look. So to get to that point, to where we're ready, you're going to stitch through your beads here along the outer edge to come out of the second seed bead of that first set of 3 that you added. So this is where you should be exiting. You want to pick up 3 11s, your twin bead, and 3 11s. You are coming out of the top seed bead, and you're going to come back around to make a circle. So I'm going to come back through just that 1 seed bead, so that when I pull, I'll actually have a little circle of beads. You want to go up through those 3 seed beads, and then through your twin bead. This is what you should have thus far. Now I'm going to come up through the top hole of my twin bead, You would pick up 1 11, 1 twin, 1 11, 1 twin, 1 11, 1 twin, and 1 11. You're coming out of the top hole of your twin, and you want to come back around to make a circle. So I'm just going to come back through that same top hole to make a circle. Now this is what you should have. You want to go through all the beads that you just added again, and then continue on through the twin bead that you're currently exiting. So you're just going to go through your beads. And if you don't do this part, this will mix. Okay, if you don't do this part, this will mess the next step up. You're going to pick up your 3.9 Monte, and again, I'm using the amethyst color. I'm going to come to the twin bead opposite where I'm currently exiting, and I'm going to go through the bottom hole of that twin bead, so that when I pull, the Monte lays over the center of my circle. I'm going to go through the other hole of my Monte, and then through the twin that I was just exiting. This anchors the Monte so that it will stay in place. I'm going to come through the bottom hole of the same twin that I'm currently exiting. You want to pick up a 3mm and a size 11 seed bead and come through the outside hole of the next twin bead. You want to pick up an 11, a 3mm, and an 11. Come through the outside hole of the next twin. $11, 3mm, and 11. Go through the outside hole of the next twin. And then on this last step, you're going to pick up an 11 and a 3mm and come down through the bottom hole of your twin bead. If you put a seed bead before and after these two here at the bottom, you're going to end up with a jumbled mess. You're ready, you've got the front done, and you're ready to actually make the casing for the back so that your post earring will be able to fit. So to do that, you're going to flip it over to the back, pick up 5 size 11 seed beads, skip the 3mm, and go through the next 11, twin, and 11. Pick up 5, skip the 3mm, and go through the next 11, twin, and 11. Pick up 5 11s, skip the 3mm, go through the next 11, twin, and 11. And then one more time, 5 11s, skip the 3mm, and then go through the twin. And then you want to step up by going through the first 3 11s of that first set of 5 that you started with. So this is what it should look like at this point. And if you want to, you can go ahead and take these 11s and kind of push them up like this, so it'll be a little bit easier on you. And let me show you the back one more time here so that you can see. These are our sets of 5 here that we just added. And what we're going to be doing now is connecting them so that there's a little hole there for our post earring to be. So we're going to pick up 2 11s. And you're going to go through the middle bead, which is the 3rd bead of your next set of 5. And pull. And when you pull, you see that brings that together. Pick up 2 11s. Come to your next loop of 5. Go through the 3rd bead, or that middle bead there. Pick up 2 11s, go to my next set of 5, go through the 3rd or the middle bead. Now, before you pull this and you add your last set, you're ready to actually slide your post in there. Now, when you put it in there and you pull, if it seems like that 6mm post is going to jiggle around and be too small, then you'll want to transfer and put an 8mm in there. And it looks like that 8mm is going to fit perfectly. I think it's because of the size of the bicones. I used a 3mm rather than a 3mm bicone rather than a 3mm round. And I think that's going to have to do, you know, you're going to have to use that bigger pad if you do that. But for the last step, I've got my 2 size 11 seed beads, and I'm going to go through that very first bead that I started with, which is the middle bead of that first set of 5, and pull. When you pull, this is what it should look like. I think once we get that pulled tight, that 8mm is going to be good and secure, and you're not going to have to worry about it. So now I'm going to go through the 2 beads that I added and then the middle bead of the next set of 5. I'm basically going to go through and just reinforce all the beads that I just added here on this back encasement. And you can go through this several times if you wish. It doesn't take much to secure it, so as you can see, I'm having a little hard time getting through there. So this is what I've got so far, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to exit out of this top seed bead here. And let me flip it around to the front so that you can see. So I've got the very top seed bead I'm coming out of. I'm going to pick up 3 11s, skip the twin, and go through the next 11 so that it makes a point. You now have your actual earring finished, and you're ready to tie off the thread. Now I can see down here it's got a little loose, so I'm actually going to stitch down and make this a little tighter and then tie off the thread. Once the thread has been tied off, this is the finished earring. That's the front, and then this is the back. You'll repeat these same steps for the video to do the second earring so that you'll have a pair of pretty twin bead earrings. Now, this is the 2 colors of blue, like I said earlier. And this is the brown, iris, and the gold, which is a really pretty neutral pair. And then the pair I did today is the iris teal and the purple. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We do have all 3 of these kits available on our Etsy site, as well as the pattern. So I hope you enjoyed and you learned how to make a new pair of earrings today. We'll see you again next week.